Well, sure, I went and had my picture took, yes, sir. Nancy wanted it done. She said that Ezra Hoskins had his tooken and Jim Lawson had his took and Deacon Witherspoon had his and she wanted my picture to hang up with the pictures of a fuss three husbands. And I told her I wanted to go to have my picture hung up in No Rogues Gallery. Well, she commenced crying about it. In order to keep peace in the family, I told her I'd have it done. So while I was down in New York, I thought it'd be a good time to have it took. I had my hair cut and my store clothes on, and I looked pretty scrumptious for an old feller. Well, sure, I went up to one of them picture galleries, and a gal took me into a setting room, and it was just stuck full of pictures. She said the picture man would be ready in a minute, and while I was awaiting, I could look at the photographs. Well, there was a lot of them. Some of them had wedding clothes on, some of them had uniforms on, and some of them didn't have much anything on. I guess them was actor gals. She showed me one picture. She said that was Miss Vanderbilt Rockefeller in her coming out gown. Gosh, it was real handy. All she'd had to do would been cough, and she'd have been out. Well, the picture fella come out and wanted to know how I'd have my picture took, whether it be in a group or full length or on a bus. And I told him I didn't go on a bus very often, but when I did, I went full length. Well, he took me into another room, sat me down in a chair, and twisted a pitchfork into the back of my head, another in the small of my back, and twisted my head around so my collar was cutting my throat, and took my right boot and put it over on my left boot where I had a sore corn, and told me to look pleasant. Then he wheeled up that picture machine. I guess he was a little ashamed of himself because he hid his head under a rag while he was doing it, and just as he was getting ready to pull the trigger, a fly got on my nose and I sneezed. And he said it'd be all right, and he'd send me my pictures by mail. Well, I paid him for 'em, and when they come, I was a sight. One ear was on top of my head, the other was hanging on my chin, and that fly looked like a mud turtle crawling all over my face. Gosh, that fella had me on a bus, sure enough. Now Nancy gets out the album. She says, this is Ezra Hoskins, that's Ezra's first wife, and this is Jim Lawson, this is Deacon Witherspoon, and that's the picture Joshua had taken while he was down in New York. It's plain to be seen he was drinking.